He gives this lavish party for this 180 days. Then he gives another party for 7 days, just for all of his higher officials in his court in his capital city. And his order was, open up my storerooms, give them as much to drink as they want. Mordecai finds out about this plan, and he goes to Esther. And he's so hurt that in a Jewish tradition, he rends his clothes and he puts on these rags because he feels he's no longer worthy to wear decent clothes. And because of that, he can't come into the palace. So there's this dialogue of notes going back and forth between Esther and Mordecai by a servant. So Esther makes Mordecai aware of the law, that nobody can enter the king's court unless the king asks. Otherwise, they're put to death, or the king holds out his gold scepter. Mordecai responds. And he says, just because you live in the king's palace, don't think that out of all the Jewish people, you alone will escape. If you keep quiet at this time, someone else will help and save the Jewish people. But you and your father's family will all die. And who knows? You may have been chosen queen for a time such as this. So Esther sends a note back, and she says, go, get all the Jewish people in Susa together. For my sake, fast. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night and day. And I and my servant girls will also fast. Then I will go to the king, even though it is against the law. And if I die, I die. So Esther goes before the king. The king holds out his gold scepter. And she asks the king if it would please the king to come and banquet with her. The king, actually, her and Haman, lost track, excuse me, that the king and Haman would come and banquet with her. So the king accepts, and as Haman is leaving, he passes by Mordecai again. And Mordecai doesn't fear Haman at all. And Haman's enraged. And as he goes home, he's trying to come up with what can he do to this Mordecai. And he tells his wife and several friends, and they come up with this idea. He said, build a platform so that you can have the king hang Mordecai in the morning. Make it 75 feet tall. And he has it done. So during this time, the king can't sleep that whole night. And he doesn't understand why. So he gives the order for the daily court record to be brought and read to him. And it was found recorded that Mordecai had warned him against the two plotting against him. The king now says, what honor have we bestowed upon this man? And they come back and they say, we haven't done anything for him. And the king's like, I want to honor this man. Who's in the courtyard? Haman had just walked into the courtyard. So, as Haman comes in, the king asked him, what should be done for a man whom the king wants very much to honor? Haman thought to himself, whom would the king want to honor more than me? So he answered the king, this is what you could do for the man you want to honor very much. Have the servants bring a royal robe that the king himself has worn. And also bring a horse with a royal crown on his head, a horse that the king himself has ridden. Let the robe and the horse be given to the one of the king's most important men. Then let the servants put the robe on the man and the king that the king wants to honor, and let them lead him on the horse throughout the city. And as they're leading him, let them announce, this is what is done for the man whom the king wants to honor. The king commanded Haman, go quickly, take the robe and the horse like you have said, and do this for Mordecai the Jew who sits at the king's gate. And do not leave anything out as you have suggested. Wow. That must have really ate at him. But not as much as what's getting ready to happen. So, the second banquet that the queen asked Xerxes and Haman to come to is now taking place. And Haman can't wait to try to hang Mordecai. So the king is now impatient, and he asks the queen again, what are you asking for? I will give it to you. What is it that you want? I will give you as much as half of my kingdom. Then Queen Esther answered, my queen, if you are pleased with me, and if it pleases you, let me live. That is what I ask. And let my people live too. This is what I want. My people and I have been sold to be destroyed, to be killed and completely wiped out. If we had been sold as male and female slaves, I would have kept quiet because this would not be enough of a problem to bother the king. And it says, pride leads to destruction. A proud attitude brings ruin. Pride can make us feel like we're better than someone else, making us delusional at worst, awkward at least. And offense comes to the forefront when cultural differences are perceived, not realizing there's more in common than difference. And let us remember what Sodom's sin was, because it wasn't what you might think. Ezekiel 16:49. This was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were proud and had plenty of food and lived in great comfort. But she did not help the poor and the needy. So Sodom and her daughters were proud and did things I hate in front of me. So I got rid of them when I saw what they did. This is why Sodom was destroyed. It had nothing to do with sexual immorality. Again, this is what God says. So then, I want you to think about and marinate as I go through another scenario very quickly. What should our response be? I want to talk about the Queen of Sheba and Solomon. Again, a Cushite woman. And I want to bring out, because a lot of people have ideas of how Africa was and how backwards it may have been. But I want you to grasp the caravan that this queen partook in to get to Solomon. First of all, here she is 1,550 miles as the crow flies away from Solomon. But she had heard about his immense wisdom and wealth. So she decides, I'm going to go test this man. She puts together a caravan. In order for her to get there, where are you? In order for her to make this journey, she had to go through Ethiopia, transverse Sudan and Egypt, cross the Sinai, which was a desert then, go through Palestine.